afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for NU E Power Corp's inaugural webinar with Adelaide Capital. NU E started trading on the CSE in August under the ticker symbol NUE. Last week, they announced an LOI for the acquisition of 49% interest of Diloo Energy Corporation, which is focused on the green hydrogen space. Devon Sandford, founder and CEO of Diloo and incoming CEO of NU E, is with us today to discuss the uniqueness of NU E. Welcome, Devon. Thanks for joining us.
I know. I know you've been a little under the weather recently, so I do appreciate you powering through and getting us on today. So thank you.
I'm finally better.
That's good. We're happy over here for that, for sure.
Yeah. First of all, I'd love to touch on your background, and then I think we'll go into your relationship with low carbon.
Yeah. Okay. So, Devon Sandford, incoming CEO of NU E Corp, also the current CEO of Diloo Energy. We want to make sure that we pay attention to the enunciation of that. It means two different things. Jessica.
Yeah, I can't stop myself on it. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. You know, it's on me for having a name not in the English language. But anyways, so I've spent about 20 plus years in the power distribution, power generation space, primarily in Western Canada and realistically all over North America. I've built several companies, all with successful exits, both in the public and private space. About 5 years ago, I was fortunate enough to get involved with 2 solar farms in southern Alberta from a construction and expertise basis. It was kind of during COVID era, so it allowed me very good access to the C-suite of the end user energy company that was located in Europe, and also the EPC. So they kind of relied on me very heavily to get those built and also do some initial developments. After my obligations were done there, kind of the entrepreneur in me took over, and I thought I could do it better, smarter, faster, and that's when I opened up NU E. About midway through the first year, I brought on some shareholders, and after that, here we are today.
Excellent. I think we all know the need for power. So let's head to the relationship you have with low carbon. Who is low carbon?
That's a great question. I think we should back up a little bit. When we started kind of looking at this company as a public company, me and the initial shareholders, myself and the initial shareholders, we kind of decided that we wanted to do a couple of things. One of them was keep the share structure extremely efficient. And you can see that with our cap table and our market cap today, so that shareholders and people who are risking capital with us could kind of enjoy that upside significantly and meaningfully. But the problem there is that at the same time we decided we wanted to own these assets and operate these assets. Well, a solar farm can be tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So the challenge becomes, how do you do that? And you got 2 choices. So basically, you can dilute yourselves into oblivion, and we definitely didn't want to do that, and the shareholders didn't want to do that. Or we could take on a financial partner. So that's what we did. We kind of scoured the world for somebody who would be a good fit for our solar energy portfolio, and we found low carbon in London, UK. And essentially, the deal is this: we develop projects 50-50. They finance the development of the projects. And then when we go to construction or final investment decision, the project gets split 25-75. So, our part of the deal is we come up with the developments, we have the local expertise. Their part of the deal is they finance, and then we split the end result 25-75. And they have a great track record of this. They've been doing this for years. They have about 30 gigawatts in their pipeline, about 3 gigawatts built. So we're pretty excited about having such a great partner. We have in our terms, we have a 2 gigawatt funnel. That would represent $2.5 billion of investment. So I think I speak for the shareholders as well. We're happy with about half that.
So unlike most solar companies, you actually will have some revenue.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
And starting in the next 24 months.
Yeah.
And with your expertise, you've been able to keep your costs much lower on your builds. And why is that?
Well, okay. So first of all, low carbon builds a tremendous amount of sites worldwide, right? So they're able to leverage that buying power that they have at other sites, and they're able to provide us and our projects the same price that they're buying for 300 or 400 or 500 megawatts at a time overseas. And the second thing is the expertise that we have at different levels in our company as well as their company lends itself to being just more efficient, right? So from a construction perspective, from a regulatory perspective, we have all of our bases covered.
And you have the option to maintain ownership or sell the project.
Absolutely. That's a great question too as well. So we have an opportunity to, potentially flip projects, whatever is the best value for shareholders. That's what I'm here to do, right? So, if someone wants to buy a project or it makes sense for us to own it long term, we're open to all opportunities for sure.
Okay, and it doesn't change your relationship with them. They don't care what you do with it. Your 25%.
Not really. No.
Okay, and so here's a good map of where a lot of your projects are on the grid here. So I think that's fairly strategic location. So you've brought on Lethbridge 1 now, haven't you?
Well, we're actually progressing fairly steadily. Lethbridge 1 is slated to have commercial operations this month. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be there, turn the switch on. Lethbridge 2 and 3 are on track to have our AUC permit, or final AUC permit this quarter. And then Hannah will be filed for quarter 1. I anticipate all FID on all projects by fourth quarter 2025, and can't wait to start building.
Okay.
Now, obviously, I think a lot of the shareholders and potential shareholders have heard about, regulatory things going on in Alberta. Assured to myself that the regulatory adjustments are to streamline process and to ensure the robust nature of the base load grid in the province. So, we're not anticipating too many hiccups.
So you said all of your projects should be approved by 2025 at this point.
Yeah, we're looking fourth quarter. Yeah, if we can go quicker, we'll go quicker for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that gives you almost 500 megawatts, basically.
Exact number, it loses me 450-ish. Yeah.
Okay. And then so we start to see a revenue stream kick in here 2025.
We'll be in commercial operations at the end of this month, so there will be revenue.
Okay, and then we'll talk on Diloo.
Thanks, Jessica.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. I get nervous too on these things sometimes.
Well, yeah, it's all good. It's a different word for sure.
Yeah. And then okay. So if you want to speak to the deal, that would be great, and then talk about the green hydrogen space, because obviously that's Alberta is looking to play a big role in that area, and we could talk about the other players that have come into the green hydrogen space like Dow, etc. So why don't we touch on the deal and then we can go to the macro?
Yeah. Okay. So I left NU E. So I was the founder of NU E. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I was the founder of NU E, and I left about 10 months ago because it was in good hands. Low carbon was we did that deal, and we also did the deals on the development pipeline. And it was my goal throughout the last 5 years since I've been in the space to have meaningful impact from a gas liquids perspective, and hydrogen was a natural course for me. So I started Diloo, and my background is Métis, and Diloo is the Diloo Energy is water energy in Métis. And I wanted to make sure it was an Indigenous owned project. So when the guys came back to me, and the C-suite came back to me from NU E and said, we think we want to be in the hydrogen space, about 10 months later, I said, okay, that's fantastic. And I'm happy to work with everybody on this. In the discussions, they decided to bring me back as CEO, and very happy to be here and excited about, putting a little horsepower behind our company again. But also they wanted to, they saw the vision of hydrogen and where it's going to be going. And they wanted to back Diloo as well. So, we struck a deal of 49%. allowing us to maintain a 51%, or myself, a 51% ownership of Diloo, and maintaining our Indigenous roots.
That's fantastic.
Now, from a perspective of green hydrogen versus all the other colors of the rainbow hydrogen, we have blue hydrogen, which is the big competitor. That's what everyone's talking about. Yeah. So the big difference is how do you get there? How do you get that hydrogen versus blue hydrogen versus green hydrogen? Well, blue hydrogen is made from steam reforming natural gas, right? So you're scrubbing it. It has a lot of impurities. You're scrubbing it. You're compressing it, and you're capturing the carbon, right?
You do methane capture, basically, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so carbon capture. In the case of green hydrogen, there's also some really interesting technologies that are coming. They're kind of doing an in situ separation. So kind of downhole, they'll separate the hydrogen from the nat gas. And I'm not too familiar with it, but it looks really good. It's similar to the SAGD stuff that we were doing with heavy oil back in the day. And then green hydrogen, of course, is water, electricity, and electrolyzer. Personal opinion. So we'll talk personal opinion. I know we're not supposed to do that kind of stuff on these things, Jessica, but I think using carbon capture space on a new fossil fuel, when we have a lot of carbon to capture on the existing fossil fuel funnel, I think may not be seen as an efficient use of that resource that we have in Canada. I think blue seems very energy intensive as well. Having said that, green is using water. Now, how much water is used by blue, I don't know. I haven't gotten into it, but time will tell what the resource allocation is on that kind of stuff. So I think green is probably the future, and I think blue is good if you need a tremendous amount, like right now today, because we're just not there from an infrastructure perspective in the green hydrogen space. Having said that, I think we'll be there fairly quickly. If we have anything to do with it. And we're seeing deals across the landscape. I truly believe, in my gut, that hydrogen will transform the energy market, and it will be the next $1 trillion industry. There's too many deals going on around the world. There's too much money coming in from government players. I think a lot of companies are going to see Alberta as a prime location to do their hydrogen facilities, potentially exploration with new technology out. And I think primarily you're going to see that because of the energy infrastructure we already have here today. I mean, it's very easy in Alberta, anywhere in Alberta, to put something, a gas liquid in a pipe and then separate it on the other side. So I think you're going to see, the energy infrastructure, the access to renewables to offset any carbon. I think it's going to be very attractive for any hydrogen players in the space.
Yeah, and blue hydrogen, I think, is cheaper right now too.
Well, I mean, because we're at $3 a kilogram, so we're right there. I mean, when you look at blue hydrogen, I don't want to speak for another space that I'm not directly involved in, but I think they're going to be about the same price once everything settles out.
Yeah, my question is on the water, but like you say, that's going to be an issue for a lot of different industries, not just the hydrogen industry. Yeah. Green it for the drilling guys, etc. Water's going to start to become an issue. So,
100%. And Alberta too as well. I mean, what a prime location for offtake too as well. So, you look at one of the major components of heavy oil fractionation is hydrogen, right? So you need that in order to do that process. You have gas grid operators in Western Canada that have said they want to do 20%, or they want to have 20% of their pipeline capacity or natural gas pipeline capacity in hydrogen. So, I think there's a lot of space for us to be in there with a blue hydrogen solution, and I think I'm pretty excited about it. I also think too as well, if eventually when the transport takes off, I truly believe that the world's kind of said, okay, well, gas operated machines, we're going to utilize batteries for those things. And I think what you'll see next is the elimination of diesel through a hydrogen solution. So anything that requires high torque, anything that requires long haul trucking, any of those heavier loads is typically done by diesel, remote power generation. I think you're going to see hydrogen taking its place. If not hydrogen, a combination of hydrogen and another gas liquid.
And is there any issues with the transportation of green hydrogen?
Well, I'm from Alberta, so we transport combustible liquids all day long, every day, as you know, Jessica.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hydrogen is just another,
Another molecule. Yeah.
it's another gas liquid, right? So, you do need cryogenic trucking trucks. You need cryogenic storage tanks. But it's interesting. Without upgrading the pipeline infrastructure, you can, like I said, you can actually put 20% into a nat gas pipeline without actually deviating from the initial construction. Right. So it doesn't affect it to the point where, okay, well, I need a different type of pipe, or I need a different type of valves, and that type of thing. And even the equipment in your house, Jessica, like the stove, the furnace, all that kind of stuff can actually handle 20% hydrogen cut on it. What's interesting is that you see up in Edmonton, they're doing a 300 house development, Qualico is, that will be strictly on hydrogen devices. So the commitments, we're seeing a very robust commitment, not only federally, provincially, but also from municipalities to really give this gas a go.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much information I've seen from what Alberta's willing to do in this space. It's unbelievable, really.
So I highly recommend as well, Jessica. So we do a hydrogen conference every year in Alberta, up in Edmonton. Yeah. I don't know the exact dates this year, but we'll definitely advertise on our website. And I think it's a really great opportunity for anyone who's interested in the space to come. We had, I think, 8,000 people there just this last spring. So it was really well attended and very, very well supported.
I'll definitely come. I think there'd be a lot of people interested in coming.
Yeah.
And another end use, how about like petrochemical plants, things like that, that make plastics? They utilize.
Like I said, it's funny, right? Like it's a part of most people's process, especially in the oil and gas space, right? So they're using hydrogen every day. The petrochemical guys are using hydrogen every day. The fertilizer guys, I mean, so you got to add nitrogen, you get ammonia, right? So it's a huge component of fertilizer. Now, do the fertilizer companies want to go greener? I would suspect, like most companies, they do. It's something I haven't actually delved into yet, but that could be certainly an offtake. I think you're seeing it in Europe right now, and I think we're a little bit a ways from it, but I truly believe we're going to see large scale fuel cells taking up base power load for different areas in communities for specific company installations. So I think you'll see actually that happening at some point too as well. We're a couple of years away, but it's certainly happening in Europe.
Well, and you speak on fertilizer. I mean, you look at 2 winters ago when gas prices went through the roof. I mean, how many fertilizer plants had to shut down in the UK? It was crazy.
Absolutely. And, so our goal is to have, the lower price offtakes figured out, get our kind of like our base infrastructure. So get our 3 or 4 plants together, and then maybe have a merchant tail on the hydrogen. And when we see that shift to hydrogen from a long haul perspective, or to compete with diesel, a gallon of diesel, I think that's when you're going to see an opportunity to dramatically increase our cash intake. Because we'll sell at $3 a kilogram right now, but if we're going to compete with diesel, we'll be selling at $8-9 a kilogram.
Okay, a couple questions from the audience, and I have a couple more for you. Is the agreement with low carbon an option or an obligation on their part?
It's an obligation.
An obligation. Okay.
Yeah. So just to give everyone a heads up, they are currently financing all of our operations.
Okay, and you've had no issues with them, no. And there's no time limits on getting these sites built?
So I know we have 2029 is kind of the goal. So that's in our contract today.
Okay. And how did you determine the $4 million purchase price?
So we determined the price based on our second swipe engineering and also our offtake negotiations as of today. And we can't be too public about that at this point, Jessica.
Okay. Okay. Hydrogen requires engines to be built differently because it makes parts of conventional engines brittle, and it also washes cylinders and internal combustion engines.
And historically, that's correct. But the new Cummins engines are coming out with a different head mechanism that allows a quick change to go from diesel to hydrogen.
Okay.
And you're seeing that across the board, right? So they're seeing their most engines hydrogen ready. For example, Caterpillar is building a $5 billion manufacturing facility right now today to accommodate their hydrogen fleet. JCB, which is a very large company in Europe that does kind of the excavators and the dozers and stuff, are doing the same thing with actually a hydrogen ICE engine, not fuel cell.
Yeah, I was reading quite a bit about it actually. And Japan's using a ton of it.
Yeah. So I mean, we're at the beginning. I mean, you're obviously, in thinking that we're going to be, retrofitting all the old trucks is probably not realistic, but certainly I think the new trucks that are coming out will have that ready capability.
Okay. And another question, hydrogen can't go through natural gas infrastructure as is hard on the integrity of the pipelines, etc.
So my people are telling me different, but that's the offtakes we're negotiating currently right now have said that they're fine with a 20% capacity.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, having said that, we're going to be kind of first of, so we might have some hiccups, but we'll work through it. We'll work through it.
Okay. And let's go through your the Diloo green project this page here on the 120 megawatt project. The 60 megawatt, and the other 60. Yeah. If we could just touch on that.
Yeah. So right now we have 4 locations picked out. So it's going to be spread over 4 different sites. We are waiting for our offtake partner to give us a narrowed down site location that works with their infrastructure. And as we get that, we'll obviously disseminate that information.
Okay. I mean, obviously we've seen like the Dow, the ADCO plant, Amazon come to Alberta as well for AI. Anyone who's looked at AI understands why certain jurisdictions are much more amenable than others, just due for cooling purposes, etc. And I think Alberta does fit that category. Am I correct?
Yeah. So I mean, Alberta has everything you need and want for an AI plant, right? I mean, we got a relatively mild climate. We got base load energy, so we have lots of natural gas. We have lots of power available. And then we have great access to renewables to offset, right? So it's a very similar thing to the hydrogen play. I think you'll see actually the next development that NU E does will have a co-located data center with it. It's always nice to be able to have your own offtake when you're developing a solar plant. So that's something in the works right now that we're working through with our development manager, which is Brock Stewart.
Okay.
I'm trying to add some complexity to his job. It's getting too easy for him.
And most of these would be like, especially the tech companies are usually willing to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people don't want to, you're seeing a real focus to kind of look for the green energy first, and then figure out how you're going to do the rest after, right? So, and a lot of these companies have it in their directives from a corporate level, from a board level, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. They have to, but they also know that there's, until we have, until we have green energy that doesn't have intermittency, you need a good backup grid as well. So you need a combination of both, really, right? And okay, we talked about almost everything. Let's see. Okay, someone's asking, what are the names of the public and private companies that you've built and exited profitably? Do you feel like answering that?
Yeah. So Red Hill. So these have all been in the electrical manufacturing space. So Red Hill, back when I was 25. How far do you guys want me to go back?
You're not that old, so.
Omega. What else do we have? Jet. I'm sure I have some others. Oh, so I sold these companies either to public companies or to private companies. So I sold them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not actually taking them public.
Okay. And and someone's just asking, why is 50 cents a valued or undervalued price for the current stock price?
Well, I think it's incredibly low market cap considering that if you took Lethbridge 1, 2, and 3 and wanted to sell them after they were constructed, it would net us somewhere around 80 to 100 million bucks. So what's our market cap today, Jessica? I haven't checked it out.
Million or so.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got cash, 300,000. So you're not a tight cash spot. Anything else we didn't touch on? I mean, I know you've got a lot of works in the future. Anything you let us in on?
Yeah, I think just going forward, I think we're going to focus on our base, right, which is the Alberta portfolio. I think we're going to make sure that comes to fruition. I think we're going to land our hydrogen offtakes and get some permitted locations going in kind of by second quarter 2025. I'm actually really, really excited about that. I think that's going to be the future of our company, and obviously underpinned by a really solid solar base. And I'm actively looking to kind of expand geography, right? So looking for projects or companies that are available to us in the USA.
Okay. And with your, are you looking for other financial partners, or could you lever more off the low carbon relationship?
So I have a tremendous respect for the individuals at Low Carbon. They really believed in us right at the beginning, and so I certainly would talk to them about any projects that I'm going to get involved in. I'm not obligated to, but I certainly would. And then I have a whole list of companies that would like to start investing in this space in Western Canada.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really good start to a really exciting story, and I know you have a lot of stuff that you're not talking about, and I can't wait to hear more from you soon.
Well, right on, Jessica. And like I said, thanks for having us on. This has been great, and you've been an excellent interviewer. And I've tried to be a UE, and let's do it again.
Yeah, no, exactly. And as soon as we have any more news, or if anyone wants a one-on-one with Devon, please feel free to reach out to me. And like I said, as news flow happens, we'll definitely have another webinar at that time.
Yeah, and happy to answer any questions, Jessica, if someone reaches out to you, or hop on a call anytime to kind of discuss what we have in our net.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks for your time, Devon. Okay. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.